Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest Chapter 175 is officially out, and this was another solid chapter with a really cool cliffhanger. We get to see more of the Seis taking on the 6 demons of Ferris, and us officially learning what at least 4 of their own particular magic abilities are, as well seeing how the Seis are faring in this fight, with a surprise towards the end of the chapter that I wasn't fully expecting, at least not yet. But I'm open to see where things can go from here, but I do have my own criticism. But before we jump into things, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into the chapter. So chapter 175 of 100 Years Quest, titled The Essence of Wicked Prayer, with the cover image being Midnight and Cobra looking absolutely great and dripped out at the club. Honestly, no notes. Really cool image. We start things off from last chapter after Racer managed to land a pretty solid punch on Bird, but he ends up catching his footing and gets back up, flying into the sky as he says, "I'll show you something interesting," as a dark substance begins to leak out from within him, and Racer's wondering what's going on as this dark substance begins to encircle him, with Bird saying in the shadows, "My magic is black sky magic." So he essentially uses a type of magic that manipulates the air around him, similar to how Wendy uses the air and the sky for her own magic attacks. But with this, it's black magic in this instance. Now, with how it's drawn, I'm fairly certain this is going to draw an even bigger connection to Godslayer magic in how their powers literally manifest in a black tint whenever they use their magical abilities. Again, still headcanon, still a theory, but I feel like the more we see black magic, the more this is more likely to be the case, being the link between God magic ability. Bird appears from the shadows and hits Racer from the back of the head, saying fall into a dark sky for a little while. Racer tries to hit him, but Bird disappears into the darkness as well, as Racer says he can't see. Now, in another section of Alderaan, we actually see Angel still underneath Demon's foot, but she gets herself free. She says, "Oh, you don't want me to step on you anymore?" You know, I can make a joke about this. I really want to make a horny joke out of this, but it would be in poor taste at this point, and I think I've done enough of those. Demon says she has demonic black magic, but Angel says, "Is that right? People used to call me Angel, you know." And Demon gets incredibly excited, saying an angel and a demon? Interesting. Now that could melt. As Demon begins to unleash her own abilities, Angel launches an attack of angelic feathers towards Demon. But she then holds up what seems to be a magic card, saying 6 shields, acid rule. As in an instance, all the feathers that are launched at Demon begin to melt away. And as Angel is reacting to this, Demon motions her hand on the card towards Angel, and she is hit by an invisible force of acid-like attacks as she screams in agony, and also removing a good chunk of her clothing. If it wouldn't be Hiro Mashima if something like this didn't happen, especially in a fight between 2 female characters. Let's be honest with ourselves. Also, I'm probably not going to show this panel in fear of getting demonetized at this point, but we'll see how I edit this. Either way, Angel got hit with a very powerful attack, and seemingly is definitely heavily injured, as Demon is ecstatic, telling her to melt away and die. We then cut to Cobra fighting Blade. As Cobra's wondering what's with this guy's attacks, he can't hear his voice at all. Blade says that his magic is black slashing magic, and as the world around him seems to go dark, as energy is built up, he says its attacks are soundless, and Cobra is shocked after seemingly the sound has disappeared, but in a last second he picks up a slight sound as he manages to dodge Blade's attack. As this impresses Blade, Cobra charges up and launches Poison Dragon's Scale Fang to launch square at Blade at all directions. But Blade instantly slashes and destroys the attack before it reaches him, surprising Cobra, as Blade says, "My black blade cuts down my enemies without making a sound." As in that instance, Cobra is then slashed on the side of his chest and his shoulder as he pulls back. As he's wondering when Blade attacked him, Blade says, "You depend too much on sound, boy." So, not only so far are we getting Bird's dark magic being sky magic, while also engulfing the area in a dark shadow to surprise Racer from all sorts of directions. We got Demon seemingly having some sort of type of card magic that allowed her to use a type of acid attack against Angel, melting her attack and trying to melt her. Now Cobra is facing a hard counter to him. It seems like it's the opposite of what I was hoping for, but I'm liking it. The fact that the Seis so far are fighting opponents that they are at a severe disadvantage at. Especially Cobra, as one of his best attributes is being able to hear people's muscle movements and their thoughts. That is a part of his really good hearing and magical ability when it comes to sound. But with Blade not making a sound with his abilities, with his slash attacks, and having them done so quickly that even in an instance Cobra was barely able to dodge one of those slashes, Cobra is at the biggest disadvantage he's at ever. And Blade even said so. Cobra relies way too heavily on sound. And I'm curious to see if this is going to be a sign of Cobra growing and trying to adapt to the situation. Same with the other members of the Seis, and this is a perfect chance to have them grow in real time to overcome their own shortcomings in these fights. I know it's wishful thinking and people are going to say that's not going to happen, yada yada yada, but I'm allowed to speculate and have my own thoughts and wish for the best. Is that wrong? No. I just know there's going to be people like that in the comments, and to that I say, think what you want, that's fine. That's what discussions are for. But moving on, we cut back to Midnight as he's facing down Zero, as he is seemingly completely exhausted from the fight. Zero says, after all your bragging, this is the best you can do, Midnight, as a dark aura radiates from Zero. Midnight notices that Zero has gotten even stronger than when Brain, his father, first became Zero in the first place, asking if the black magic managed to amplify his powers. As Zero is smiling at Midnight, Midnight tries to launch a spiral pain attack, but Zero just casually swipes it away, saying pain won't work on me, as he launches a dark rondo attack square at Midnight as it engulfs him, as he calls Midnight pathetic. Is this how the former member of the Irrational Seis should be, Midnight? But Midnight looks at him square in the face, taking the pain right now, saying my name is Macbeth, Zero. But Zero just keeps laughing, telling him to shatter to bits. He'll destroy him. You're just a ghost from my past. And Midnight keeps getting engulfed by this incredibly powerful attack, seemingly unable to break through. And at the last second, with a quick panel, Natsu and Happy appear, managing to break through Zero's attack and knock Zero back. As it's then that Midnight is wondering why Natsu is there. Natsu said he was heading straight for Ignia, but he spotted Alderaan and all the familiar faces of the Seis, and wondering what's going on. And Zero has a face of absolute anger and glee as he's looking square at Natsu, as he says fairy tale Natsu Dragneel, ending the chapter. So while I liked this chapter and the fact that the Seis are really having a very tough fight, and at least from the magical attacks that we've seen and abilities from the demons of the Book of Ferris, the Seis are definitely so far at a major disadvantage. Cobra's is his biggest. Racer can't seem to land a actual blow now that Bird is using his black sky magic. Demon's demonic black magic seems to be card based and pull something out to utilize a type of acid on Angel, which nullified her own abilities. And now Midnight's attacks aren't working on Zero, mainly because Zero is way too powerful in comparison to Midnight at this point, but could also be because the black magic is amplifying also Zero's own magical abilities, and he knows how to take down Midnight. So yeah, they're at a severe disadvantage. I'm curious to see how Hot Eye is doing against Gaia and Merity against Gate, but we still have to see. We'll probably see that in the following chapter. But Natsu showing up at the end of the chapter, while I think a rematch between Zero and Natsu would be really, really cool, because we don't really get to see Natsu fight older enemies because either they're dead or they're turned into allies later down the road. But either way, it's an interesting thing because seeing Natsu at this point of the story fighting against an amped up version of his first real powerful enemy that he has faced in a life or death battle after Jalal during the Tower of Heaven arc is definitely a nice thing to look back at, because at that point Natsu only won because Jalal gave him enough power with the Flame of Rebuke to unleash Dragon Force, and even then, Natsu still had to push harder than he has ever done before. So now we're getting a rematch between two of these characters in one of the best fights in the series, now both of them having a lot more strength and power at their side. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go. Now, I do think Natsu is going to win, but it would be interesting if Zero wasn't destroyed here or killed in this instance and just had to retreat, at least by force. That would be an interesting way to go about things. But I think we're going to see the rest of the Seis fights either end in their defeat or in them having to retreat in some way, shape, or form. Because now with how things are, unless they evolve in this fight, overcome their shortcomings, they are going to lose. So we just have to wait and see. But I would like it if Midnight straight up just told Natsu to go head to Ignia, leave this to him because it's something that he has to take care of. It's his father that he has to take down. And I feel like this would be a really good way for Midnight to step up and actually do something meaningful to showcase their full character growth. Because this is Midnight's fight, and I really don't want Natsu to steal it. But we still have to wait and see because usual pattern of how these things tend to go, Natsu will take out Zero. But Zero's not the major arc antagonist, so we still gotta wait and see. Either way, let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that happened in this chapter down in the comments section down below, and how things are going to pan out for the future of this chapter. And how do you feel about Fairy Tail as a whole, since this is the last chapter of 2024? Let me know in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. All that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.